we're obviously really excited and proud to be playing tomorrow night, and against an outstanding Arkansas team. Eric's done a great job with his squad. It's 2 in a row now. We're playing against 2 of the top defenses in the country, and they're different, but they're at the same level. And in Note, you have one of the most explosive players in the country. So it'll be a heck of a game. We're healthy. Obviously, we're trying to get refreshed today. We're going to, after all the media, we'll go and not have a hard practice, but a good stretch, walk through our game plan, and try to get therapy so that we're as fresh as we can be. But everyone should be ready to play.
Mike, the way this team has sort of come together, and some of the intangibles really that it's shown in the Michigan State game, and then again, are there parts of it that remind you of some of your older teams that you had guys for 3 or 4 years and you could sort of cultivate this over a longer period of time, but this team has kind of learned it sort of on the fly?
Well, not on the fly, but within a year. And before that, you would have years, you know, like John Shire had a tough freshman year, and then a junior year where Villanova killed us in the NCAA, and then he won a national championship. And so they were able to have adversity help build them. And when you only have them for a year, you're trying to avoid as much adversity, but in the last 10 days or so of the regular season and the tournament, we experienced a very deep level of adversity. And in some respects, it really helped us. And I'd rather not have experienced it, but I think it helped us. It hurt. They grew together and we all took responsibility and figured out what was wrong, and then we tried to correct it. And it was actually, in some respects, a good thing. But that usually happens it used to over a decade ago, over a period of time.
We'll go to Pat next.
Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. Mike, I guess along those lines a little bit, what is the feeling like from a coaching standpoint of being able to get a team to achieve its full potential, and versus that maybe the regret of not getting a team all the way there?
Yeah, that's either the biggest good feeling you could have or the biggest bad feeling you have. And you know, if our season ended after Virginia Tech, even though we won the league, and at that time won 27 or 28 games, and it would have been a downer. And the NCAA tournament that week before gave us an opportunity to have a good runway into the time of the year that if you do win, you're going to remember it forever. And so we're very fortunate to have this, and for these guys to do so well in their end of game situations. And but you know, you hit on it. It's a really good question, because it really is. I don't remember records as much as how we ended. And so I hope this doesn't end tomorrow.
Question from Mark in the middle.
Hey, Mike, Mark Anazaro from the New York Post. With regard to AJ, I'm assuming you know his dad fairly well over the years.
Very well.
Going back to coaching against him, I think, or
no, but he actually was Tom Thibodeau's assistant.
Yes. When
Tom was my assistant for the U.S., so Adrian traveled with us, with the U.S. team, and helping us.
Just curious, what similarities maybe you see in the character of AJ to his dad, and how much of an influence do you feel like he's been on him?
Well, I think he's benefited from both of his parents. Both of his parents are outstanding athletes, and so they understood the commitment, also the genetic pull. probably was good in that regard. You know, Adrian's dad was a minister, and I think the 6 to 8 months before AJ came to Duke, being with his dad, I think, had a profound effect on his faith. And he's very, you know, very deep-rooted in it right now. And it's beautiful, really, to see. So, you know, you can see the continuity of that part of their family tree in that regard. It's kind of neat.
Question from Dana in the middle.
Dana O'Neill at The Athletic. Mike, I was wondering if you could just walk me back to when you went to go see your university president to tell him you were going to retire. Like, did you email him and give him a warning? Did you blindside him? I mean, that's a big announcement. I'm just wondering how that all went down.
No, Vince and I are good friends. You know, I've always taken the approach, I tell my assistants all the time this when they become head coaches. Remember, you work for somebody. You know, you work for an athletic director, and you definitely work for the president of the school. So develop good relationships with them. And Vince and I have a really good one. And I just made mention, I said I'd like to talk about my future. And so we carved out a time where I did it at his home. They have right on campus. And we had a couple-hour talk. And then the ball started rolling. But when I did talk to him, I said, I still felt I wanted to coach for a year. And I didn't want COVID to be the last year. And I felt I was still healthy and energetic and whatever. But that I just couldn't ethically recruit. And I thought, I presented a plan. I said, and I think it would be a good one for succession and continuity. And then, however, you know, you're the ones who are going to pick the coach. But it's a good plan, and it's turned out to be a great plan, not a good one.
Question from Ron on the right.
Hi, Ron Krychek from the San Francisco Chronicle.
By the way, I also talked with my future. You weren't the yeah. So, but we were kicking the other guy out, so I wanted to make sure. And I wanted also, like Nina and I have really developed an unbelievable relationship during this year. So when I take on my next role, that'll be like a cool thing. Yeah, it's just gone up a lot. Not that it wasn't good, but it's like really on steroids right now. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about if you've had much interaction with Eric Musselman or his dad back in the day, and how much, you mentioned the defense, how much Arkansas maybe takes on his personality. He's obviously kind of a fiery.
Yeah. Well, obviously, their family is one of the great names, one of the great families in the history of basketball in our country. His dad was just an amazing coach and defensive coach. You know, and then Minnesota. You know, and I think the kids at Arkansas benefit from the fact of Eric's experience in the pros. And you can see a lot of the pro influence, especially in some of the things they do offensively and some of the unique things they do defensively. And so I think it bears out number-wise. In the last 5-6 weeks, they've been probably the best defensive team in the country.
Question from the back left.
Yeah, Coach, I don't want to bring up bad memories, but they say coaches remember the losses more than they remember the wins.
Not necessarily.
Okay. 1994, Nolan Richardson, Scotty
I do
Thurman.
remember that.
Okay,
Yeah.
just your memories of that in playing Arkansas.
No, well, we played against a great team and one of the great coaches in our sport, in Nolan, and it was a heck of a game, and it came down to really a timeout, and I felt we knew Scotty Thurman was going to get the ball, and we got a fingernail on it, which didn't affect its trajectory, and he knocked it down, and we had an opportunity then right after it, but it was a hell of a game. And, those things are disappointing in that you don't win, but they're not, I wasn't disappointed, like Pat was saying, with the effort. We really had a great year. An inside story on that, about a month and a half before that, we changed our offense a little bit. And I told Grant, I said, we're going to put a new offense in. It's going to be going to Charlotte offense. And put them up on top. And it worked. We did go to Charlotte. I should have said, I'm going to put a national championship thing on. So then he would have won 3. He might have won 3. Would have had a hell of a career. Look where he is now. Yeah.
We'll go to the center with a question.
Matt Norlander, CBS Sports. I've been following your team here dating back to a couple days before the Carolina closer at home.
Right.
And just kind of noticing your demeanor here at the NCAA tournament and last week in Greenville, it does seem like you are, as loose as I've ever seen you. So I wanted to.
I'm not. Don't.
Well, this is.
I'm not a loose guy.
This is leading up to my question. All right. So my question is this: how are you balancing that, unending competitive spirit, but also really trying to take in as much as you can, because you never know when this is going to end. It hasn't ended yet, but I get the sense you're at least trying to smell as many of the roses as you can while still staying focused.
Yeah, I don't know, smelling. I do garden, by the way, and so I'm a flower guy. Yeah, no, I work my butt off out on the outside, and love it. During those 10 days, I learned something, and I saw my team hurt, not just by a loss, but by a whole bunch of things. And I just had a good meeting with myself. I said that I got to do something. I got to help in some way. And part of it was my approach with them. And not that we've been really close and all that, but I just changed a little bit in doing, even how, the timeout yesterday, right at the first timeout, and sitting on the last 2 games, they give you 20 minutes at halftime, and I've never done this before, but at Michigan State, and again last night, when I come in the locker room, I just pull out a chair, and I sit with them for about 5 minutes, and just, okay, here's where we at, and just talk to them. And then we go and talk as coaches, and then come back and get a little bit more fiery, or whatever. And it's had a good impact. It's had a really good impact. And like when we lost that, my, whatever you want to call that day, and I looked and I saw my team, I felt really bad for them. I felt really bad that we lost. And when I said unacceptable, it wasn't that they were unacceptable. It was the result was unacceptable. And I wanted to make sure that that was not misconstrued by them. And so we've kind of, it's part of growing together, growing up. And I take responsibility for that. These are really good guys. This has been, John Shire said it yesterday when we were together as a staff, even before the game. He said, Coach, this is as good a group as we've had as far as getting along. They are really a good group of kids, and they're becoming men. And it's just, how lucky am I to go back again to Pat? I'm referencing you more than maybe you probably deserve it, but maybe Dana's being a little jealous now. But they've been really good, and for me to have that group in this final year for me, I'm very thankful for that.
Question to the left.
Hey, Coach, Claire Hanna with TSN. Given the combination of the youth of this team and the fact that it is your last tournament, what would it mean to you and the team to make it to the Final Four?
No, I mean, for any team, you know, whether you have an old team, a young coach, or the Final Four is the Final Four is Mecca for a player and a coach. It just, there's nothing like it. And so for me, it's like, I call it crossing a bridge. And very few people cross that bridge. And so I've been able to cross it with my teams 12 times. And to cross with this team would be an amazing thing for me. And I know what's on the other side of the bridge. They don't. They can only look at it. And so it makes me want it more for them. And obviously for me, come on. You know, you can only give so much to the church. You want something back, you know. And a little bit of forgiveness and less of a penance when you go in the box, you know. And but it would be a cool thing.
Question from Bob on the left.
Hey, Mike, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I was there in '94 too. I'm sure you remember me.
Yeah, what do we, you guys have a plot here or what?
Yeah.
Are you two together? Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Tony, because two of his high-scoring games were against Duke. Just wondering what you've seen from him on film, and just what do you remember about playing him before?
No, he's got great energy. Yeah, I mean, that's something you look for in every player, somebody, and he has outstanding athletic ability and competitiveness, but he plays with energy, man. And when you do that and you have the athletic ability that he has and the freedom that he has with Eric, you're going to make a lot of good plays. And he did that at Pitt for Jeff Capel, and he's doing it now on a team that's, it really, throughout the country, they're as hot as any team, really, in the last 20 games or so. I mean, they've had a remarkable time. I think they started the SEC 0-3, and what a turnaround. Although their league is very difficult. I mean, they've beaten Kentucky, Auburn, Gonzaga, Tennessee. Come on, it's an outstanding. It's one of the best teams in the country.
Any other questions for Coach? Back here.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. Mike, just the talk that you said you had with yourself kind of at the start of the tournament, I'm wondering if,
No, I had it during the week
before
the ACC tournament.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Took a while. It doesn't.
It's a long conversation.
No, the conversation didn't take long. The action from the conversation is not like an instant pill. You know, it's, you got to, anyway.
I'm wondering at what point in your career, or can you explain maybe just how, I would imagine over, when you've been coaching as long as you have, that you evolve as a coach, and at what point might you have, at some point I would imagine you wouldn't have had those conversations. It would have been just like, hey, here's how we do things, and.
No, long time. Okay. I think you learn, I think it's important for any leader to be that leader's biggest critic, and because you know why you did it, you know how you did it, you know everything about it. Someone else can look at it, and no matter what, they will never know as much as you. And if you don't put the truth on the table and take responsibility, then you won't make the best out of the situation that you're in. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. And I've learned that a long time ago. And But again, it took me a while to learn that. And that's the best. It's the best.
Was there a moment that kind of like, hey, I've got to.
No, I don't know when that moment. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can't, like February 12th, 1993. I don't know. But it. And part of it is because, and okay, I'm being an idiot if I do this that way. It's not work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And what helps is the ability to continue to work with youngsters, the same period, same age group, 18 to 23, and you get different groups during your almost 5 decades. And so they help you learn how you're supposed to communicate with them, not with what you communicate with, but how to communicate with them. And that's been one of the exciting things for me over the time, because I actually have really good relationships with these guys. I'm worried if Shire will let me come to a practice or do, like 3 years from now, and with some of the, even next year with some of the guys he's recruited. We've got a Polish kid coming in. I mean, I would think he would let me do that every once in a while, but we'll see if he gets a big head.
It's that time of year as college basketball takes center stage with the tournament finally upon us. If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest, where you can have a chance to take home the top prize. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, where the game starts.